I want to show you again tonight, usually known as the crossroads of the world, Times Square in New York. Tonight, desolate again. Very few pedestrians, very few cars at the height of the coronavirus scare. Well, good evening once again. Day 1154 of the Trump administration, 230 days until the presidential election. And it's been 1 week since the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a pandemic. The number of confirmed cases in our country is going up fast. Tonight, it reaches over 8,600 people. Note it has been nearly 2 months since the first case was diagnosed in this country, as you see 140 total fatalities. As the nation grapples with increasing shutdowns, the president has now adopted a new stance when it comes to positioning his effort to fight this pandemic.
Do you consider America to be on a wartime footing in terms of fighting this virus?
I look at it, I view it as in a sense, a wartime president.
While he may view himself and wish to be viewed as a wartime president now, the problem with that is the lengths that he has gone to diminish the virus, the danger, and the approaching pandemic.
We're finding very little problem, very little problem. Now, you treat this like a flu. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
The Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. This is their new hoax.
Anybody that needs a test gets a test. They're there. They have the tests. The tests are all perfect. Like the letter was perfect. The transcription was perfect. It will go away. Just stay calm.
Today, Trump invoked the Korean War-era Defense Production Act, which allows him to order businesses to make ventilators and masks for healthcare workers, as well as other critically needed medical supplies.
We've ordered millions of them, but we need millions more. A thing like this has never been requested, and we've never had to even think in terms of these numbers, but we need millions of masks, and all of that will be ordered. We need respirators. We need ventilators is a big thing because it's a complex piece of equipment. So we have a lot of ventilators, but we're going to be ordering more. Nobody ever saw numbers like this, even with regard to testing. Now we're getting highly sophisticated tests, and it's going very well, but nobody's ever heard of testing in the kind of quantities that you're talking about.
President said today this snuck up on us, while the president also announced the government is taking further steps to expand testing capacity. It's still impossible for many Americans to get tested, even those who are violently symptomatic. It remains true that your ability to get tested right now in this country depends on where you live, who you are, and how much money you make. In news to our north, we've now closed our border with Canada to stop non-essential traffic back and forth. As you can guess, asylum seekers and other foreigners attempting to enter illegally from Mexico are being turned back. This comes as a new internal report from the Department of Health and Human Services, first reported on by the New York Times, suggests a sobering time frame for recovery, saying the pandemic, quote, will last 18 months or longer and could include multiple waves of illness. Late today, U.S. Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart of Florida, Ben McAdams of Utah became the first two members of Congress to announce they have contracted the coronavirus. As the number of cases has increased, there's new information about the types of patients being affected by this.
There are concerning reports coming out of France and Italy about some young people getting seriously ill and very seriously ill in the ICUs. It may have been that the millennial generation, our largest generation, our future generation, that will carry us through for the next multiple decades, there may be disproportional number of infections among that group. And so even if it's a rare occurrence, it may be seen more frequently in that group and be evident now. So we're looking at that information very carefully. We have not seen any significant mortality in the children, but we are concerned about the early reports coming out of Italy and France.
This was another tough day for Wall Street as the Dow dropped below 20,000 points for the first time since February 2017. It has now wiped out all of the gains made during the Trump presidency. Trading briefly came to a halt again today. Earlier on CNBC today, longtime hedge fund manager Bill Ackman urged the president to shut down the country and the markets for a month to contain the coronavirus and rescue the U.S. economy.
What would the president be asking the American people to do? He's not saying, he's not saying to storm the beaches at Normandy, right? He's saying, go home. Go home. Spend a month with your family, okay? And I know for some families that's a hardship, okay? But it's nothing. Go home. Take a deep breath. Spend time with loved ones. Take care of your children. What's scaring the American people and corporate America is the gradual rollout, okay, of what's going on. We need to shut it down now.
That is exactly what the big three automakers did today. GM, Ford, Fiat Chrysler temporarily shutting down their factories here in the U.S., in Mexico, and in Canada until at least March 30, an unprecedented move that will affect hundreds of thousands of factory employees. Tonight, Trump signed the emergency coronavirus aid bill just hours after it was passed by the Senate. This legislation provides free coronavirus testing if you can find it. It ensures paid emergency leave as well as additional Medicaid funding and unemployment benefits. Senate Republicans are now working on a $1 trillion spending proposal that the White House said would include $500 billion in direct payments to Americans. Trump also says he plans to make another announcement about his administration's effort to stop the spread of this virus. Here's what he said during a meeting with the heads of nursing organizations.
The FDA will be, they've been working very, very hard, and I appreciate what they're doing. And I think we have some very interesting things that will be brought up tomorrow at the news conference.
One more note about the availability of tests. As we mentioned, they are still extremely difficult to get. NBC News White House correspondent Peter Alexander today asked Trump why that wasn't the case for some folks.
How are non-symptomatic professional athletes getting tests while others are waiting in line and can't get them? Do the well-connected go to the front of the line?
Well, you'd have to ask them that question. I mean, I've read. No, I wouldn't say so, but perhaps that's been the story of life. That does happen on occasion, and I've noticed where some people have been tested fairly quickly.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.